Bring up my intro video. Hi everyone, welcome to the Open Circle. And today we're interviewing Miss Amanda from the Peculiar Brunette. Hello.
Hi. Hi. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being on. I'm really excited to interview you.
Thank you.
Um,
So happy to be here.
Yay! So today we're going to talk about a little bit about her practice, her YouTube channel, her magical mail, a little bit about like some of her videos and Yule related stuff. So, um,
Before we start to, I can't see any comments from anybody. I don't know. Hold on. Let's
okay.
play. Oh, there we go. You just have to hit this comment side. Okay, perfect. So if
Yeah.
any comment, it should come up over there. Oh, from the Witch of
Oh,
Enchantment. Oh,
hey, Justin. Hey. I'm trying to find like my intro video and like we might just have to skip that. I was
that's
not
okay.
prepared. There should be like a present thing. Well, oh yeah, present. Okay. Oh God, I don't even know where it is. Um. Okay, we're gonna skip my intro thing. um. We're real professional here.
You just gotta get a Tim gun and make it work.
Yeah. Okay. So I brought up the questions. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and your channel?
Yeah. So, my name's Amanda. I'm the Peculiar Brunette. I'm an atheist pagan. That's normally what I like to call myself, but I mean,
Okay.
if it calls me a witch or something, that's fine too. Um, a lot of my practice is kind of around like nature spirituality and kind of connecting with the seasons, connecting with nature around me.
Mm.
Um, and then, with a bit of like, spell work and ritual work and, all that, following the moon phases, like all that kind of stuff. And so I like to write about that. And that's, I mean, pretty much what my channel's about and my blog too.
I love it.
Yeah.
Um, so how did you first become interested in witchcraft?
Um, I would say like, so when I was younger, I really liked kind of like books and movies. And it was always kind of a joke in my family that like, if it had a witch in it, like Amanda was going to like it. And um, like vampire stuff, so, like stories.
Mm.
I've always like started as that. And I was like really into these like Nora Roberts books. I can't remember the name of them, but like the last book, it's like a trilogy. And the last book was called like Face the Fire. And she's like
Oh,
sisters trilogy or something. It's called something like that. And
okay.
that was the first time I ever heard anybody that, because she kind of used like Wicca like principles to write the book.
That's
So that
interesting.
yeah, like and then they would light like the Beltane fires during like, Beltane and then Samhain. And that was kind of interesting. I was like, I never heard anything like that.
I
And
like that.
those were kind of fun. You know what I mean? They kind of resonated with me.
But it's cool that like she took the time to like research a little bit and like incorporate that. I like that.
I thought so too. And it did seem like she kind of had done some, or at least I'd heard that she had somebody kind of like, that she'd paid somebody to kind of help her. And so that was fun. And then like later, like when I was a little bit older, like I was 13, 14, my mom was getting her hair done at like a beauty salon. And I was
Mm.
just like kind of looking through like magazines, and they had one of those like Q&A sections where you like, write in and ask a question or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
it was like, oh, I'm like a Wiccan. How do I tell my parents? And I was like, what is that? Like, I'd never really like heard that phrase. And
Mm-hmm.
so, and this is like before smartphones. So I was like, I just remember being like, I have to remember that word. Like, and so I got home and Googled it, and I was like, oh, there's people like, this isn't just fictional. Like there's people in real life that do this. And I didn't ever know that. And so it kind of just started from there, and then just like researching things from as a teenager, and kind of as I got older, I kind of left the like witchcraft side and got more into like the paganism side. And then
Uh-huh.
again, I got older, then those two things kind of started to merge again. So I don't know. I would say that was kind of the beginning for me.
I love that. And like pop culture tends to like influence a lot of us. You
It
know, it
really,
tends to bring us in.
I think it's because like, I mean, where I'm from Idaho, and it's like
Hmm.
very conservative. There's a really Mormon population, like LDS. And to me, it was like that was the only like religion there was. I didn't see any examples in real life of anyone that wasn't Christian. And so I think that's why pop culture, I think a lot of people are like that. It's almost like Christianity is almost like it's reality
Hmm.
almost. There's no other way, at least where I'm
Yeah.
from. And
Yeah.
so to see things like in a book or a movie or something, you kind of can start to see other ways of thinking, which is kind of why I like movies in general, because
Hmm.
they you can sit with someone else's perspective for a whole movie, and you can kind of empathize with what they've got going on. And
Yeah.
that's why it resonates with people, you know.
For sure. Yeah.
Me.
Um, Hi, Amy. Welcome. Glad to have you. Um, so, um,
That kind of how you got started into it is a pop culture too.
a little bit. Like, charm influenced me as a kid, and like, I remember writing down the spells.
Yes.
You know, having my own little like personal book of shadows and like this plastic like notebook.
Yeah. I never got into Charmed, but I always see people talk about the Book of Shadows from Charmed. So is it like
Yeah,
is it like a big book, or I mean is there something special about it, I guess?
it's just like this massive grimoire with it has enchantments on it. It has
Sure.
like the triquetra,
Yeah.
the spells within it just they don't seem like they came from anything like Scott Cunningham's grimoire or anything.
Sure.
Um, Now, that old movie, like that Disney movie, like the Mansion movie, whatever, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? That has like legit Scott Cunningham spells in it.
I didn't,
Um, my friends and I were watching it, and like one of them was like, "Oh my gosh, that's a Scott Cunningham grimoire spell." I'm like, "Oh, I didn't know that."
I know. I kind of was the same way too. Like Practical Magic, like had such a hold on me. Like I loved that movie so much. Like
Yeah.
obsessed with the house from the get go, and then like we were traveling. My husband and I one time I got like a Groupon, and we went over to the San Juan Islands, and
Mm.
just total coincidence. Like I had no idea that they filmed the movie there, and
Mhm.
I thought it was like a East Coast, like, because I think they're supposed to be or something in the movie, but I had no idea. And then we went over there and we were on this like whale watching tour. And the guy that was like the tour guide or whatever, he was
Mm.
like, "Yeah, that hill up there, that's where the house was at from Practical Magic." And
Oh.
excuse me, stop everything and tell me everything that you know. Like,
Wow.
and but
That's
he was,
so cool.
I know, and he was saying that he like set it up like the exterior of it and like took it down and stuff. And I was disappointed that it wasn't a real house, but I mean, I thought it was gonna.
Aw.
And ever since that, I've been so obsessed with that area. I just love it over there.
That was Whidbey Island, right? Or something?
Um, yeah, so the town was filmed in Coopville, which is on Whidbey Island.
Coopville, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I painted a bunch of the buildings white and everything. And yeah, I don't know, but like some of the like exterior sets were on the San Juan Islands for like the actual house. So yeah, it's kind of cool. I like to go explore over there because it makes me feel like I'm a part of the movie or something. I don't know.
That's so cool. Like living it. That's so cool. I love that. Hey, from New York,
Hello.
another East Coast. um, that's so cool. I love that though. Um, so, how do you incorporate magic into your daily life?
How do I incorporate it? I would say a lot of it is with like slowing down and being present, because
Yeah.
I know that sounds like really simple. And
Mm-mm.
but a lot of that is like I just feel like we get, especially nowadays where it's like we have like electronic devices in some way, we're like driving to and from work, and there's so much going on that we kind of get distracted, and so we lose
Yeah.
our connection with nature. And so just by slowing down and being present and just paying attention to like what's going on with the seasons, like what are the animals doing too, like
Right.
and even just like spotting them, like, you know, noticing how many crows there are that are like by you, or noticing like, I don't know, a hawk that just landed on a branch in front of you, like kind of slowing down and looking for those signs and being present and kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
I incorporate that as part of divination into my practice too. And especially like just because I see a hawk doesn't necessarily mean though I take the sign from it, because I used to live somewhere that was like right next to a huge area where there's a bunch of hawks. So like
Oh,
seeing
wow.
really take that, but like if I see it in a unique way, like for example, like I had a set of them come in my backyard in my tree, two of them, and they like had a nest and they were like really active in my backyard for a while.
Wow.
I take as kind of a sign because it's like right there, you know? So I think that's the biggest thing that I do to incorporate it.
Speaking of signs, that's really weird. Last night I had a dream about a hawk,
Really?
but like it was massive and it was like trying to swoop down and like grab me up.
So it was like
And now you're mentioning hawk, and that's like giving me goosebumps.
that's weird.
That's crazy.
I I think hawks are like supposed to be like a sign from the other world that you're on the right track. But I don't know that, like, if in a scary version of it off the top of my head, I don't know what that would mean.
I don't
That's
know. It was like a predator, so it's like get your shit together or something.
yeah.
I don't
Quick.
know. Wow.
Hi, Kendra.
Hi, Kendra. Welcome. Glad to have you. That's so crazy. Wow. Okay. So like you mentioned like you like do divination with animals. Is that like augury?
Kind of, I mean, yeah, more just like kind of paying attention to what's going on around me. And then, like I said, like I try to provide context because sometimes, like I said, like I live right next to, or I used to live right next to a big, like sanctuary space for hawks. So I see them all the time. So I can't necessarily use that as a reading. But it's more like with something specific, like, or like if a pheasant like lands right in front of me, I'm like, ooh, there's a reason for that, you know?
Yeah.
So I try to keep those things in mind, but I also kind of use it just in like my every like cooking too, like kind of the little things is like, you know, just adding little charms, little like spells to kind of things like the way you stir something, or
Yeah.
like stirring soup. Like I like to do little sigils, or you know what I mean, whatever it is, a symbol of some sort that I'll put in it. Or so I mean, I think it's more like that. That's just the easy stuff that I do almost as far as every day. But then, you know, if you want to be extra about it, you can kind of, you know, do more, you know, difficult spell work or rituals and kind of go from there. Or same thing too, like the moon. I follow along
Mm-hmm.
with a lot too, because I think the cycles of nature can teach us a lot, and that's, you know, maybe seasons or also with the moon. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but like kind of paying attention to that, being like, you know, if it's like the dark moon phase, it's this time of introspection. You've got this whole new phase is about to grow. It's a time for rest. The new moon, setting goals and new beginnings until you get to the full fruition of the full moon.
Yeah.
And you know, that's the time to like reach. That's the heightened, you know, climax of your goal or what you're trying to achieve. You know, so I don't know. I incorporate a lot of that in my life.
Yeah. There's a lot of magic in the day to day. Like
Yeah. Hi, thank you, Kendra. So glad to see you. Hello. Oh, there
you don't have
you
to do
are.
like elaborate spells.
Sorry, do that
Oh
again. I think
no.
you
Uh-oh.
or I froze.
Hello?
I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I hear you. It's probably on my end because tech has been wonky lately.
Maybe. I'm not sure because I'm not here, you know, traveling full time in our travel trailer. So,
I have questions about that girl. um, so,
do you
like,
want to say that again though? Because I didn't hear you.
oh, I don't remember.
That's okay. That's
I
okay.
lose track so quickly. It's terrible.
You're good.
let's see, as content creators have to stick together. Yeah, for
That's
sure.
that's
Hmm.
talking
It's
about.
not a competition. We were just talking about that earlier, you know.
Yeah, I'll let you say that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, just like not a competition, like it kind of gets painted that way that like as content creators are like in competition, but really it's just there's space for everybody. There's plenty of room for everybody, and we can all just be friends and stick together, like you
I
said.
agree. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's power in numbers, you know, like why not share love and support and not like negative and
totally.
competitive energy? We don't need that.
No, I feel like you learn more that way too, because
For
some
sure.
that they do and you're like, oh, what a genius idea, I never even thought of that. Exactly, some algorithm.
Yeah. Oh, that algorithm, man. Mm.
Gets you sometimes.
I have feelings about that.
Like what? Tell me.
I don't know. Like YouTube didn't used to be like that. Just like post whenever and like you didn't have to like slave away at an algorithm.
uh,
I don't get it. I just it
yeah.
boggles my mind.
Yeah,
It's not old school YouTube anymore. It's crazy.
I know some of their like tips and stuff too. They'll be like, post weekly, and it. I mean, the thing is that sometimes I can post weekly. It depends on the video. Sometimes it takes longer. Like when I do Yule decor video and stuff, like they take me way longer to do than
Right.
a video like this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely elaborate. It can take some time for sure. I get it. I get it. Yeah, the B-roll and all that. And it's like some people don't have the energy to post once per week. I've been absent for a month because
Yes.
I've had a lot going on. So
Yeah.
like,
You know.
yeah, and now I have to like get back and appease the algorithm gods. Like what?
Totally. Well, yeah. Like Kendra is saying too. Like she doesn't even bother with the number. She interacts with other. Like I kind of
Yeah.
sometimes wonder if that's kind of how it's going to go, because with AI and stuff now, I sometimes just wonder if that's what people are going to be doing. It's just everybody's doing stuff like what we're doing and
Right.
talking to each other. And it might not necessarily be these like, hundreds of thousands of views. It's just people, like you said, in communities talking with each other all the time and just,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes that's where that's going to go. Because it's the only thing that we have that will be unique. Like AI is going to be able to do almost everything. They can write, it can do everything. So the only thing we'll have is ourselves and our personalities.
Like
To
if AI is doing all the work, where's the authenticity?
Oh,
You
totally.
know? Like
It's
I don't get it.
yeah, totally.
Mhm.
Yes, exactly. It
Yeah,
rolls throughout the universe. I like that.
I love that.
Hmm.
So, I definitely like want to ask you questions about traveling because you've
Okay.
been doing a lot of that.
Yeah, I sure have.
Sorry for like skipping around. I know I sent you a lot of
Oh,
questions.
you're fine. Good.
Okay, cool. Um, so like for those who don't follow you, you've been traveling around in a travel trailer.
Mhm.
Um, and like if you don't follow her, what's wrong with you? Go follow her. um, but like, what has been your favorite place to visit so far on your journey?
That's a good question. Um, well, so we sold our house in June, and
Mm,
basically we're just kind of tired of the Idaho area. Like in 2013, I had like a job. I used to work for a big bank
mm,
and a promotion to Seattle. And so we went and lived there for a year. And that was so great because it was just such a little jumping off spot for us where we could go and take like little day trips to all these places around the Seattle area.
mm,
And then we like really missed family and it was really hard to be away from them. So we moved back and we were back for about 10 years, 9 years. And I was just like, there was a reason that we left in the first place. Do you know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
Is this just isn't a good fit for you anymore? And
Yeah.
so we were like, you know what? We're just gonna. I didn't want to. I was worried that like a recession or something was gonna happen, and we were gonna get stuck in the house and stuck there. So I
Right.
kind of move and just go see. And it was nerve wracking because I was like, well, we really want to buy like property and like garden and like have a little homestead type of a thing there. And I was just like, I don't know how I'm going to do that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
how am I going to like sell my house and then go have the time to go find property and find a good place for us? So I was like, oh, a travel trailer, we could live in it. Like we could always have it,
Yeah.
go take our time, like we wouldn't feel rushed. And so to start with, we were like, okay, great. So to start with, we like went and visited my husband's side of the family and then my family. And then we were over in Washington and looking for property over there. And so we kind of like were open as to like where we might find property. So we were traveling to like places like Tokeland, which is like on the far what like western part of Washington, like the west coast.
Okay.
And it was just like so muddy. I was like, not a, and I thought I was like, because it's kind of south of Forks. Like, do you know where Forks is in Washington? It's like where Twilight is based out of Forks. And they
Oh.
Yeah, so it's like just south of that. So I thought like maybe it would be like that, but no, it was just muddy. And I was not, no. So so then we went traveling around and we were on like Whidbey Island over by Coopville. And then I really love Port Townsend, which is this like the cutest. Like like it was built in like the late 1800s. And so everything's these like Victorian homes. And it's so cute there. And they've got this like hotel that's like haunted. And it's just like such
Oh.
a cute town. It's like right by the ocean. And so we went over there. We were poking around, but they didn't have any lots available or anything. So it
Mm-hmm.
got kind of cold. So we were like, I don't like the cold. It's like like I don't mind it in a house, but in a travel trailer, I was like, no.
Right.
Now we like went to Southern California just like to wait it out and then we're gonna go back and look. But I have to say like Port Townsend's probably my favorite place because like I said, it's just this cute little Victorian town. Everything's like, it's the Pacific Northwest. It's raining, kind
Mm.
of cloudy, but everything's green and the ocean's right there. And they've got this cute little like I can't remember what's the name of that movie. Oh, Officer and a Gentleman. Like, I don't know, it's a super old movie with like Richard Gere, but they filmed
Okay.
it in Port Townsend, and there's like a little base there that has like these bunkers. You can't see them from the ocean, so you can go walk through all these bunkers, and it's pretty cool.
Wow.
I really like it there.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
I
Like,
really
is there somewhere that you like? I know this wasn't on the question list, but like, is there somewhere like new that you want to visit that you haven't been before, like a different state?
let me think. Like, I definitely want to go. Well, I went and visited New Orleans once, and
Okay.
I only got to stay there for a couple days. I kind of just tagged along my husband's like trip. And so I kind of just like explored it, but it was very magical place to me. And
Mm-hmm.
I was so nervous because I don't travel by myself. I've never done something like that. And my husband's like busy at his job and stuff, to go travel around this big city that by myself was kind of a lot for me. And
Mm-hmm.
I was really nervous. And I knew I was going to be out really early in the morning, like at 8 a.m. because I had to drop my husband off at work. And then I went and traveled around like the like downtown area there.
Yeah.
And I read everywhere online that's like, don't go down there at 8 in the morning because there's like criminals, like you'll get mugged and all stuff. And I'm like, this is the only time I have to come down here. But it was like so magical to me. Like I felt like the city like guided me. I don't know.
Oh.
I just felt like it showed me where I needed to go. And I went
Mm-hmm.
there with um, no real plans. I was just going to try to they have like this city bus that goes through the whole town and they like talk. It's like one of those double decker bus things.
Ooh.
And
Okay.
up and the tour guide like teaches you about like all the, attractions that are there. And
Yeah.
driving along and they were like, oh, we're going to take a break and like stop for like this bathroom break. And I was like, cool. So we got out and I was wandering around. It was like a little gift shop kind of a thing. And they were like, oh, Marie Laveau's tomb is here. And I was
Mm.
like, what? And so excited. And I just felt like, so they were like, yeah, find the lady with the flowers in her hair and like she'll take you there. And I was like, okay. So yeah, we like went over there and she like took us through there. It was so interesting because I learned a lot too about it's like it's not the original cemetery, but
Okay.
one got destroyed in like some weather. But this is like the second one, and Marie Laveau's there, and her daughter's right below her, and then they had an open space for anyone who couldn't afford a tomb. She specifically wanted people to be able to like anyone from the public who needed it could have a space there too. Um,
Aww.
it was so lovely. Like, and like people come there and like, guess if you like do 3 X's on it and like turn one direction, you can make a wish that she will like grant for you. And if you want to undo it, then you have to come back and do 3 X's and then spin in the opposite direction. So you got to remember.
Wow.
But
That's
like
interesting.
people were like graffitiing it and stuff. So they had
That's
to stop
awful.
letting people like come in, and they like you always have to go in there with somebody now. But
Mm-hmm.
I got to see a little bit of the house from American Horror Story Coven, like that,
Yeah.
like drove by it. But I would love to be able to go back there and just like explore it more. I felt like I just got shorted on like the time I,
Wow.
but it's
Yeah.
really magical. And if you go in April, because it was like the best weather, and everyone always says that New Orleans smells like trash. And I swear it smelled like star jasmine though the whole time I was there, because those were
Oh,
like,
wow.
and I just thought it was so amazing. Like I would love to go back there again.
I bet the magnolias are blooming around that time
Oh,
too.
they were, and I'd never seen a
Oh,
magnolia too, so that was really cool.
wow. That's on my bucket list. I need to go. I want to go to NOLA and I want to go to Salem. Those are
Yes,
like my two big ones.
I've heard Salem's good to go in September because it's not as busy, but
Yeah.
the same vibe. I don't know.
I know. um, so like, how has living in a travel trailer had an impact on your practice?
I would say it's kind of like I would do things that were a little bit more extra before. Like
Mm,
you know how you did your video on the Samhain mocktail drink, the like
yeah,
cauldron one, like how you made the like blueberry like what is that called, like a simple syrup type of a thing.
yeah.
Yeah, like I would do a lot more things like that when I was at my home. Um,
Okay.
and a lot more like detailed like crafts and like kind of my imagination and creativity in it. And I think in the travel trailer I have to keep things a lot more simple, so
Mm-hmm.
smaller scale. So I'm kind of excited about it though, because this year I'm working right now on my Yule decor so I can put the video up. And this is the first time that I've been in like a smaller space. And I know a lot of people have told me, they're like, well, what if like I don't have space for like, I don't have a big altar space, or I don't have a big place to like decorate. Like, what can I do? So
Yeah.
this is forcing me to kind of think of some good ideas. And also, I have a lot of people complain that are like, well, what if I don't live somewhere where it's like snowing, or, it's warm and I don't really resonate with the Yuletide season?
Mm-hmm.
How do I like decorate for that? So I think it's kind of fun. It kind of makes me have to change some thought processes that I have. And
Yeah.
I like it. It's pushing me a little bit on my practice. So I like it.
Yeah. So like, it's giving you a little bit of a challenge, but like,
Yeah.
yeah, I like that.
Yeah, and I bring smaller things too. Like, I did make sure to bring like candles, like different types of candles, some of my herbs, because I don't have access now. Normally, I do so much more work with herbs
Right.
because they're just right in my garden, but now I don't have access to that. And sometimes I'll go to the store and buy some and like hang them to dry. But lately, they've been getting so expensive. It was like $4 for this bunch. It was so small of like or rosemary. And I thought, honey, no, like you can just grow this in your backyard and you can and for this for $4, no. No.
Inflation, man.
I guess inflation for sure, right?
It's awful. It's killer.
I know. It's so bad. It's like I
It's awful.
buy groceries and it's like $200. I'm like, how? How
I
is this
feel that.
$200? What?
I feel that. Yeah, we do like monthly grocery shopping, and like, so I'll just budget to get us through the whole month,
Totally.
and our groceries are like $420 a month.
Yes, it's
It's
crazy.
awful. It's
I know.
crazy. It is. It is.
Do you like doing it monthly? Because I feel like that would be kind of nice. You don't have to go as often.
It is. It is nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, except for like at the end of the month, that last week, you're just like scrounging around and being like, so what are we making? What are we having? And it's just
Yeah.
like whatever is about to expire is dinner.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's how it goes. It's
It's
crazy.
we've been having to shop. I used to shop less often, but we shop more here now because the travel trailer's fridge is so much smaller. I can't
Right.
as many things in it, so
Hmm.
more often now than I used to.
Yeah, that's understandable. And hello, Draven. Hi, Trish. Welcome, welcome. Glad to see you.
I used to meal a lot my meals, and it does. It saves so much time because you just
Mm-hmm.
crock pot, you just dump it in and you go.
Mm-hmm.
Much
I love
easier,
a good crock pot. Mm.
especially
Yes.
here.
Yeah, I agree. Hold on. Oh my god. Pop up. Okay. Okay. So
Oh, so you didn't go to Salem during the season of Samhain.
yeah, there's a lot of tourists around, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Um, I'm like trying to go through my questions here.
oh, you're okay.
Um, okay. Okay. So, you've done a lot of like Yule craft DIYs on your channel. Which one was your favorite to make?
Ooh, that's a good question. Um, you don't know. I think I have a couple of favorites. I really like my tree topper. It's like an antler. It's a faux antler tree topper, and I kind of got excited from it. Like, um, so I when I was little, my sister and I we used to like get up really early in the morning before my parents were awake, and we would go and we would sit under the Christmas tree, and it was all decorated, and it had an angel
Mhm.
on top, and we would sit and we would like eat cinnamon pop tarts, and we would like talk about how the angel was protecting us and our house, right? And
Mhm.
as I got older and I stopped believing like Christian things, I really like I was able to let go of a lot of, deconstruction is a very difficult process for anybody
Yeah.
that grew up with it. It's really hard because like I said, it's like a part of your reality.
Yeah.
Um, so it's really hard to step back out of it. And I did pretty well over the years, but the one thing I just could not let go of was the angel on top of the tree because it was such a memory of me and my sister and like
Mhm.
protection for the house. And I went to like a store and I got this kind of like rustic looking angel. She looked like she was a pagan angel kind of a thing. And I was like, oh, this is going to be great. This will be like a good combination. And I just never liked her. Like, I just couldn't deal with it. And so I was like, I got to figure out something. And so I was thinking about like protection again because I wanted it to symbolize this time with me and my sister growing.
Mhm.
And so I was thinking about like the Elder Futhark rune with algae, which
Yeah.
looks like it looks like antlers, and so that's why it's a symbol of protection. And so I was like, how can I incorporate that? And I was like, oh my gosh, like when I was little, my dad used to take hunting, and I had this set of antlers. It was the first time like we got a deer together, and
Mhm.
so it was a special memory too with my dad. And so like it was just really cool to kind of be able to put those two things together and make these faux antlers. And I like put
Yeah.
ring around the face. And I think the only thing I wish I could have added to it was some lights, because it does kind of look like a dead spot on the top of the tree sometimes. But other than that, I think maybe next time I'll try to like wrap some lights around it and kind of make it glow. But I think that one's my favorite one. It's definitely complicated to make. It wasn't easy, and I had a couple moments of frustration where I was like, am I gonna make this? I don't know.
I loved that video. Like, I was binging your videos like a while ago when I was making the questions, and I'm just like, oh, I love that. That's so sweet.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, hold on. Which looks like Draven said, on the course of your travels, have you found a spot that you were not looking forward to but absolutely stunned you? Ooh, that's a good question.
Oh, I like that.
I have to say, like, when we were over in Tokeland, I didn't really care for the area, but we kept going up. There was no grocery store where we were at. It's Tokeland, Washington, by the way. There's no grocery store, so we kept having to go 20 minutes north to Westport, Washington. And I was like so surprised. They have like all these cranberry farms there.
Ooh.
And what's the name of that? Ocean Spray. They have a big Ocean Spray building there. And it was such a big fishing town. Like there were so many boats there, and they were like the whole town. It was like a small town, but the whole town were all fishermen. And they would like, after work, they were like all getting off the boats. And like my husband and I went there to just like have fish and chips one time. So we were kind of sitting outdoor patio, and it was like they all knew each other. And they were all like, oh, I got this many pounds of fish, or it took me this many hours to catch this much. But they were all like good friends, and they were sharing like fishing tips. And like, it was just this like adorable little community. I don't know. I didn't know it existed. And it had like this really huge watchtower thing where like the ocean would come and hit this wall, and it was this huge like wave that would like, you had to watch out because it would take you. But it was fun and beautiful from the watchtower, you know. And I thought that was a pretty cool place. I was surprised. I did not think that would be much there, but it was this cute town, you know.
Yeah. Aw, that sounds like a cool experience, though.
It really was.
Yeah.
I'm lucky.
Oh yeah. Like I can only imagine like the things you get to see like on a day to day. That is so cool.
For sure. You definitely make a lot of memories, especially like, because you know we stay in like an RV park, so that we have full hookups, and you know you have different people come next to you, like park next to you, and like it's just so fun to meet people. Like here we have this guy that's like doing like van lifing, and been doing it since 2021. And he was telling us, I mean, he was like going to Thailand and the Philippines, and he's like Australia, all these stories that like he stayed in this little like hut and like was doing, he said some of the best surfing he's ever done. And that's just like crazy. I mean, I've never really much left the, I mean, I went to Mexico one time, but I've never really left the United States. So I think that was, I don't know, I just think it's really cool to hear his journeys. And so we get people all the time, like we meet people, or they'll be like, hey, we're going to be here, like maybe you can meet up with us later if you're going to be around. Or I don't know, it's just cute to get to know people, because I'm kind of, and so sometimes it's hard for me to like get out of my comfort zone. So it's nice, you know.
Yeah, and so many people are doing like the van life thing or like the RV thing. Like people are tired of the economy, I think.
They are. I think so.
Yeah.
I was tired of like working for places that just did not, they made a lot of money off of me and then did not want to share the load there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that. For sure, right? But like, do you feel like living in a van brings you, or in a travel trailer, do you feel like that brings you closer to nature?
I do, in a lot of ways, especially too because I feel like I can get to nature a lot, like different types of nature anyways. Like Whidbey Island, and that, you know, Deception Pass is right there, and it's just such a beautiful park. And think Washington in particular has really beautiful parks. They do a really good job
Mm.
with parks. And even then we went over to the Olympic National Park, and there was like this staircase trailhead. It's like a 2 mile hike. And yeah, I mean, there's hardly anybody on there either. Like, I mean, you're on this like beautiful hike with this beautiful river, and you hardly see any people. I mean, some of these trees are so big. It's
Wow.
overwhelming almost to look at them. You can't take, I felt like the whole walk, I was just stopping to like, I'm like, let's do this hike, I guess, you know?
Mhm. I'd love to visit Washington one day. Like, it sounds so beautiful.
Yeah, it really is. I'm sorry, I know you're on the East Coast. Tell me where you're from.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Okay. What do you love about Pennsylvania?
um, I don't feel connected.
Yeah.
I don't. I don't feel I like the snow, because we get pretty big snows. I like that. We
Mm-hmm.
have some pretty mountains. We're like by, the Appalachians.
Yeah.
But like I don't it's so hard to feel connected. Like I don't feel like I'm from here, you
Yeah.
know? I feel like I belong over in the UK, but like
Okay.
it's another life maybe.
Yeah.
So,
We try to move there, or is that what you're thinking? Or
we actually want to move to Delaware,
oh,
to get away from the cold weather. Because it's warmer there, like Delaware or Virginia, like somewhere warm. Like the cold hurts my hubby, and I guess makes my SAD worse. Like I want to get out of here.
I
I don't like it.
I totally get that.
Yeah,
I
it
always
sucks.
like after Yule. Like I don't mind the winter until like
Mhm.
January. And then that whole gap, like couple months there is so hard. I can only imagine.
It's a drag.
Mhm.
It just drags on, and it feels like it's not going to end. You
Totally.
know, it
Well,
sucks so bad.
here's a question I have for you. So,
Yes.
ever go over to the Appalachias, like explore them at all? If you're right by there?
Um, I'm not.
No.
I know, like, I don't even know where it is in Pennsylvania, honestly.
Oh,
Like, I don't know how close it is.
mm.
Uh,
Well, it's like on TikTok, I always see people talk about like these stories from the Appalachian Mountains, and it's like I don't know, because it was at least on TikTok. I've never really went and researched this independently, but they were saying that like it's some of the oldest, like when the Earth, when all of the continents were together still, like
mhm.
the mountains were water, covered in water by the ocean. So like it's like super super old, and so there's all these like scary tales in mythology. Like people say that they hear people like whispering, like they'll say like whisper things to you or like call for help, and like you should never go in there because like I don't know. But they always talk
Yeah,
back, and I'm like, ooh, like I don't know much about the Appalachian Mountains, so thought it was interesting.
I don't either. Apparently, I googled it. It's five
Yeah.
hours and 15 minutes away.
Oh yeah.
Ew. um, yeah, no, no, we're not doing that. um, but like, how people say like, oh, you should work with like the magic of the land around you. Well, I don't resonate with Appalachian folk magic. It is not my vibe. Like,
Totally.
uh-uh.
Yeah. And it's hard when you don't connect with it. You want to go to a place where you feel like you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I want ocean, like I'm not like a sea witch or anything, but like I would love ocean, so like Virginia, Delaware, like that seems very ideal.
Yeah. There is something really magical about being by the sea. Like I've never really considered myself a sea witch either, but like
Mhm.
I don't know. It's just when you look at it, you're like, man, that's so like I wouldn't mess with the ocean, man.
Oh yeah, she's scary,
I know. Like
Uh-uh.
kind of I mean, it's so beautiful, but like yeah, I wouldn't mess with it.
Yeah, me either. But I can see how you can use that in magic to your advantage, for sure.
Big time. I mean, just even things that are washing up. Like we went on a hike down, like when we were in Port Townsend. There's a beach that's called like sea glass beach or glass beach or something.
Ooh.
And I'd heard about it for years, but it's a 6 mile hike round trip. So 3 miles there,
Wow.
and
Okay.
I was like, I don't know, that's like kind of a whole thing. And so, but this last time we were there, we were like, okay, let's do it. And
Mm-hmm.
it was quite a hike. I was glad I had hiking boots on because you're walking along the beach like coast, but
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like a lot of what are those called, like river rocks or whatever. They're probably about this size, and so
Wow.
standing on them, you really have to, your ankles, man, trying to walk along that all the way there. But I did get a lot of sea glass, so I'm kind of excited about that. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet. I was thinking about maybe trying to use some of it for charms. Um,
Oh.
and I don't know. I got a couple shells. I'm like, ooh, I could burn incense in these, but I'm kind of trying to think of some ways I can use some of those things in my practice.
Ooh, that could be fun.
All right.
Yeah. That gives you a lot to do. Wow. I like that. um, let's see. So, like, I know you've done like a lot of meditation videos. What inspires you? Like, how do you get the inspiration to do those? Like, how does the scene play out for you? Like, how do you know what I mean? I don't know how to word that, but like,
Oh yeah, I totally understand. I would say, well, for starters, like I like to meditate a lot, and
mm-hmm.
so I used to do kind of more just like relaxing meditation videos. Lately, in the last like year or so, I've gotten really into the gateway meditation ones, um,
Okay.
which I don't know if you know much about those, but that's like the hemi sync. Do you know very much about those?
No.
No. So the gateway meditation ones are like so like the CIA, like not to sound like conspiracy theory or anything, but like the CIA did all these like meditations with the Monroe Institute, and they were
Ooh.
had like of like astral travel and different things that they were doing. And so somebody, it was in the 90s, they did the like Information Act or whatever, so that the CIA had to share that information, and that's how everybody found out that they were doing it through this gateway. And so the whole premise behind it is like the hemisync, and so that is like they play one pitch in your ear and then like another pitch in the other side of your ear, and it basically is supposed to confuse, it kind of confuses your brain, the left hemisphere with the right hemisphere. It kind of makes it so they can merge together, and it helps you get into this like state of relaxation that makes you be able to like potentially like astral travel, or at least I use it mostly for manifestation and stuff, but
Oh.
and has astral traveled and done stuff like that, but I have not honed that myself yet.
Oh
But
wow.
I'm trying to step into that because like on the one hand I used to do these like guided meditations, and so I made videos that go along with that. um,
Mm-hmm.
Want to step into that and kind of try to do those like more. And so I would say it's more like just what inspires me, like what I like in a meditation video. I try to really remember and make sure that I do that when I create my own meditation videos.
Mm-hmm.
And like recently I did one with like Bridget, and it's just music really and like an image of Bridget, but like I want it, like I like to work with Bridget in my practice. And
Yeah.
so sometimes when I'm doing like rituals or spell work or something, and I just wanted to like there, the presence of her there while I did it. And I was like, I was always trying to be like, should I get like music, or like what could I do to bring her presence there? And
Right.
I was like just thinking about that for a long time. And finally I was like, I should just do a meditation video where it's like of her, like her presence is infused into the video. And then if
Mm-hmm.
I want to work with her in like my spell work or anything, I can pull her up and have her there. And I thought maybe everybody else would like that too. So
I love that. Yeah.
I love working with Bridget. Like I did a research, like I had researched her a lot, and she
Mm-hmm.
really like connected with me, and I was like, I could feel, she comes to me sometimes when I do those gateway meditation videos. And so I was really skeptical too for a really long time of wanting to work with any sort of god or goddess. Um,
Right.
because I don't know, I just think when you deconstruct out of Christianity, it's really hard to like want to step back into some of those in some ways,
Right.
at least for me. And so it was hard for me, but I, one time in like one of my meditations, I was like I feel uncomfortable because it feels like it's just like I'm always asking, like I'm going to ask you for something, and that's the relationship, is just me asking for things and hoping
Right.
me, and that doesn't really feel like something that I would want in my spiritual practice. Um,
Mhm.
and so she like, was like, well, what if we're just friends? Maybe we can just be friends and we can just talk to each other like friends. And that really resonated. I was like, oh, yeah, I guess we could do that, you know? And so that's kind of where I've been at with that right now. But that's why
Okay.
videos like that.
Yeah, it can be really hard. Like,
Mhm.
I didn't have that issue, but I know a lot of like pagans and witches do have that like deconstruction issue. You're trying to get away from it and you feel like you're being pulled back toward it, and like how do you separate it, like I
It's
get
true.
the challenge.
Even things like saying like, oh, like my soul, or like I have a soul. Like sometimes I even like kind of think, I'm like, well, is that more of like a Christian idea, or do you know what I mean? Like, so
Right.
I still even now kind of try to catch myself on things that I do and say, or just even think, like really try to run it back through that deconstruction process, because it's been hard for me. It's a big challenge for me to kind of remove from my practice for sure.
Right. I
Mhm.
totally get that.
Yeah. Did you grow up
Um
around like what made it not difficult for you? Did you not grow up with it, or?
oh, I did, but like it wasn't like a huge influence on my life. Like my mom basically taught me, believe in God, but like my mom never debaptized me. Like she was not that heavily influenced in it. So she wanted me to make my own decisions, but like, I did go to church here and there.
Mm,
Um, and I don't know, like Christianity just never sat right. Like why, you know, my grandma had people in this church like clamor over me and pray over me to like try to pray my blindness away.
oh
And
my
it's
god.
like, why do I need to be fixed? Why
Yeah,
can't you just appreciate me for who I am? You know?
exactly.
So
As
like I just I don't know, it just resentment pushed me away,
yes,
and like I never felt like God was there for me in the first place, like ever. So
yes,
like I guess for me it was easy to separate.
totally.
Yeah,
I
like
totally am.
yeah, like that was like my only trauma, but like I know a lot of people have way more than that.
Yeah.
So,
Like a lot of bullying, like on my side, like, well, just as far as like, because like I said, I'm from like a community that had a really big LDS, Mormon,
mhm.
and they're all very like, I was in a cappella in high school, and it's a lot smaller group, once you go from choir to a cappella, because you have to try out and there's a whole thing, and
Mhm.
not everybody wants to do that, but like there's less people, and some of these girls, man, they'd be like, oh, what ward are you in? And I was like, I don't know what a ward is. And they were like, oh, are you not Mormon? And I was like, oh, no. But my best friend is, like, because she was. And
Mhm.
and what's funny too is the church would even have, like, if we had new students that came to our high school that were in their church, they would be like, hey, can you guys show them around and stuff? And we'd be like, yeah. And so it was always so weird to me that they would be so rude and cruel to me and kind of like bully me, or even just try to isolate me, when I'm
Mhm.
like, literally, like, I don't know. I hang out with you guys. I have a best friend. I don't really understand. And so to me, it was just like the hatefulness of Christianity, and just like the glee of the happiness that they have that you're going to go to hell because you don't believe what they believe. It has
Right.
been really off-putting to me. Like, how can you want that? Or like, who
Right.
worship a God that doesn't allow for learning and growing? Like, you get sent to hell forever, for eternity. You never get to grow and learn and do better. I just like, why would you want that to be? I don't get it.
I agree with you completely on that. I agree. um, so I just have like two more questions for you because like I want to be considerate of your time.
Okay.
Um, so let's see. Let's go with. Would you like to tell us about your Magical Monday newsletter and how people can um, check it out?
Yeah, absolutely. I sent you a link for that, didn't I?
Yep, it's in the description, so
Okay.
it's available.
So I have the Magical Monday newsletter. So it's basically a newsletter that I send out every Monday morning. So it's to help everybody get started to have a magical week ahead of them.
Mhm.
It'll be different things. It's meant to be inspiring and meant to keep you connected, not only to your spiritual practice, but also to the seasons. So um, I might do like, it'll either be like a new post or a new video where like, something that I've recently done that I think like, you know, would be information you might want to know for your spiritual practice. Or it might be something like, you know, if it's going to be like Samhain or, you know, Yule or something is coming
Mhm.
up, it'll be a post that's about that. Or like the moon, the seasons of the cycles of the moon. So if it's going to be a full moon, like we just had the beaver moon not too long ago. So I have everything that's like the information, like when the peak illumination is going to be, like ritual ideas, just basically anything you wanted to know about the beaver moon, for example. So I do all that just to keep everyone connected. Just because people tell me all the time, they're like, "Oh, I forgot the full moon was coming," or you know
Mhm.
this, and it's like, you know, this is to just kind of help keep you like, hey, remember, like the moon's coming up, put out some moon water, or whatever you want to do.
Right.
Um, and then I also do like when I was working, you know, now I'm able to be full time with my blog, but I used to work for a lawyer and I always wanted to have like a desktop like wallpaper at work, but everything that like resonated with my spiritual practice, but also I was like closeted at work because I just don't want people in my business in that way. And
Right.
I was like, what kind of wallpaper can I put up at work that like people that resonates with me, but also people aren't going to ask me a lot of questions about?
Mhm.
Um, and so I wanted to make one. I would always make one for myself. And I was like, you know, I should just make one for the peculiars. Like maybe they would like it too. So I put on there, like, it'll be something that resonates like with the season, like an image of some sort. And then I'll put a calendar on it so you can have quick access on your desktop. And then I'll do like a quote. And then I'll put any sort of like important holidays that you need to know, like, you know, December 5th is Krampusnacht coming up. Um,
Yes.
I'll have all those on there and just again to help keep everyone connected. So
I
you
love
can
that.
sign up,
Um,
link in the description.
go check it out. Is it free?
Yeah, it's free.
Cool. I love
Yeah,
that.
it's fun too because then people email me back and it's like a good way to kind of stay connected with
That's
everybody.
awesome.
If I do any kind of giveaways, which I normally do giveaways at least once a year, I only
Mhm.
do newsletter. So I don't do it on any of like the social media or anything. I just do it with the newsletter. So yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So my last question, and if you don't mind opening it up to the audience, um, my last question for you is, what is your future vision for your channel?
That's a good question. Um, so my goal with the Peculiar Brunette YouTube channel and with the blog is to make witchcraft and paganism accessible for everybody. Um, I think that there's a lot of like confusion about what it is. You know, I
Yeah.
still I ask me if we're the devil. Like I'm just really surprised by that question in 2023. Like I would feel like a lot more people knew the answer that is no to that. Um,
Right.
and so I guess like really trying to make sure and put information out there so that people can read and even if they're maybe not interested in the path themselves, they can educate themselves on it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so really a lot of the videos I like to do are kind of like for beginners slash intermediate. So and again too, like I see so many, like I don't think there's anything wrong with creating a course that people have to pay to like buy into. Like, there's nothing wrong with that, because that's how, you have do your time for sure.
Right. Right.
In a course for sure. And like, you deserve to earn that back for sure.
I
Um,
agree.
but like for me, I just wanted it to be like, I know so many people, especially now too with inflation, and I know there's so many things, like I'm like, if I just make these videos, like, like you get served ads, I get paid for the ads, and you get the knowledge and information that you want, and like you can even see somebody doing it, like right,
Mm-hmm.
cord cutting ritual, for example. You can see step by step what you want to do for a cord cutting ritual. And I try to always make sure that I'm like, hey, it can be super simple, but here's how it can be if it's extra. And you want to go.
Right.
And so just really trying to make it accessible. So that's kind of always my goal with the channel. And I'll probably just continue that for this next year, just trying to make more and put it out there.
I love that.
Yeah,
Are you open to questions from the audience?
absolutely. If anybody
Cool.
has, I'm ready.
Yeah, guys, shoot them down below in the comments.
I will tell you, I know one of the questions you had was if I had, like, just while people are giving questions in the comment.
Yeah, yeah.
One thing you had said that you were going to ask about was if I had any advice for beginner witches.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that one of the biggest things I notice newbies struggle with is the difference between paganism, witchcraft, and like the Wicca path.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's something that a lot of people should spend some time like educating themselves on, because it is a lot different, and like you don't have to be one to be the other, and that's okay. And like it, and you know what I mean? Because like, for example, like a lot of people, like Wiccans, for example, will always do like the rule of three.
Mm-hmm.
And if I forget what the Wiccan read is, but it's like, if ye harm none, do what ye will, or something like
Right.
that. And I think that's like great. Like, that's great. If you want to be Wiccan, like that's totally great. And that's a totally lovely path. But like, there's a lot of shame online. Like if you want to do a hex, for example, or if you want to do a banishment or a curse or something that like you can't. And then there's like all this negativity around it. So
Mm-hmm.
beginners, it can be hard because you come in and you're like, oh, am I like a bad guy if I want to do that? Like, are you?
Right.
I think really taking the time to kind of make sure that you're understanding the difference between those three things is really good for beginners.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you. And like about the cursing thing, I think that's personally like an ethical standpoint, you know what I mean? I know like there's ways to get around curses and hexes, you
Really.
know?
Yeah.
But
I
yeah.
don't practice them in my practice, but I don't want to judge anybody else. Cause like we were talking about earlier, like if that's your path, like I'm not going to judge you. Like
I
that's
agree.
will
Yeah.
ever with you. So like I always try to make sure and incorporate all the angles to it so that
Yeah,
people nuances.
for sure. We have a Kendra. What is your favorite type of magic to do?
What is my favorite type? I think like I just did a whole series on like candle magic, and I don't know. I was gonna say candle magic, but also sigil magic. I don't know. Both of those are candle magic. Well, really both of them. What I like about them is that you can be as creative as you want to be. And I like to really spend a lot of time. Like I put headphones on with some binaural beats or like meditation music, and like that's the one thing that I can really focus and be as creative as I want and put as much intention as I want into, and like my personal energy into those. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I love them. Like I just love doing both of them. They're pretty easy too. Like you don't need a lot of supplies to do any of them. Like
Yeah,
candle magic, you can go to the dollar store and get everything you need for like
right.
probably.
Do
But
you like to combine the two?
oh yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Yes.
I love to create sigils and then I'll like inscribe them on the candles for sure. I do that all the time.
I love that.
I hope you like it. Make sure and ask me any questions that you have. I'm happy to answer them.
Simple, effective, and fun. Yes, I agree.
Totally. Because, like, I think people always think that doing magic has to be like complicated or like a lot of work. And it
Yeah,
doesn't have to be. It's just a part of your everyday life. And you can just make it work for you, you know?
I agree.
Yeah. What's yours favorite type?
I would have to say candle magic.
Yeah.
For me, like there's multiple steps because I make my own candles.
Ooh, that's cool.
So like I get to be involved in like every step of the way, like from the scent to the color, like,
Mhm.
and I can infuse the intention as that like wax is melting, ready to be poured. Like,
That's,
I love it. I love it.
do you have any kind of like wax that you like to use? I know some people get really particular about the type of wax they use, like beeswax or not.
So right now for my jar candles,
Yeah.
um, I am experimenting with coconut soy.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So uh,
What
that's
makes you kind of
fun.
like dig into that and use that? Like, is it the like the intentions behind coconut and soy that like made you want to infuse that, or
No, I just hate soy on its
I feel
own. I don't like soy on its own. It doesn't. I like scent in my magic, so like I want a good hot throw with that candle. So like coconut boosts that hot throw by quite a bit. So, and I don't want to use paraffin because toxic, blah blah blah.
oh
So
totally understand.
yeah, yeah,
That's really cool though. And then yeah,
yeah.
like Kendra was saying too, you can add herbs and crystals and stuff into the wax as you're making it. That's really cool.
Mhm. Like I'm always hesitant with herbs. Like I eventually hope to have a candle business. And like I don't think I want to include herbs on like the ones that I would sell.
Yeah.
But personally, I don't mind having like a bonfire in a jar. That's fine. But with other people, I don't want sued.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Because it can get
yeah.
out of control with the herbs on there for sure.
Mhm.
Like
I
I
don't want to
do
burn the house down.
candle cut or a cord cutting ritual, and I have an example of it on the video. And when I was doing it here in the travel trailer, I do it on my cast iron, and I was like, oh, I had the herbs on it and stuff, and I kind of put some like greenery around it just so it was like pretty for the video. Do you know what I mean? We don't
Yeah.
do that normally, but just so it was
Mhm.
I did that. And as soon as the cord cutting ritual like really took off, I was like, like I don't want this to catch fire with all this foliage I put around it. I was thinking, so I'm kind of like
Uh
to the side, like please don't catch fire.
huh. Yeah, that can be scary. Like with that kind of stuff, I like to put down like a ceramic tile.
Oh,
That way, it's not gonna spread that far.
that's a great idea.
And you can like chalk at the bottom your sigils or your symbols, whatever, like
That's a great idea on the.
hmm so does anyone else have any questions or like other like I don't want to keep you here forever. So,
you're, you're okay.
okay. I had to really, yeah,
I think we answered the questions.
I think so. I think so. So, are you ready to wrap up?
I am if you are. Did you have anything else you wanted to chat about? Anything else to
Um,
talk
I,
about?
so do you, what is your goal for the new year?
Ooh, that's a good question. Um, well, definitely a big goal is finding a piece of land because
Mm-hmm.
I do enjoy traveling, but I am a homebody. I like having my home. I'm kind of introverted. I like having my space with my garden and my cats. um, so like I'm definitely excited to kind of get settled. Like even if we get land and just have the trailer parked on it, I'd be really happy with that. So um yeah, I think that's kind of my biggest goal for this next upcoming year. But um yeah, I just kind of get want to get settled.
I don't blame you. Like, it, does it get like really exhausting? Like just going place to place to place, or?
I think it's exhausting to travel. Like, so when you move, it's
Yeah.
stressful. Like, I always feel like I'm not that stressed when we're traveling, but like it catches up to me about 2 days after we've traveled. And
Mm-hmm.
I have no motivation and I kind of feel overwhelmed. And then it takes me another couple days to kind of like, you do chores, you go grocery shopping, you clean, you do those things. And then, I always like to like cleanse the trailer again and like light some candles and kind of do stuff to kind of bring the energy back.
Yeah.
But if you park for a while, if we park for like a month or two, like it's great. Like it's just like living in your house. Like there's nothing stressful about it, but the move is a lot.
I can imagine. Like, do you have to like pack up a lot of stuff so it doesn't like fly
Yeah,
off tables and stuff? Yeah.
like I think I didn't bring very much. We had a storage unit, and so I hadn't brought that much. I did bring a lot of books though because I use them to cite my sources for the videos and blog posts I write. So I definitely.
Mm-hmm.
My husband was laughing because he's like, "Oh my gosh, babe, you brought like a library here." I was like, "I need them all." But yeah, I mean it's been really lovely. Actually, I expected it to be a lot more stressful than it actually was, and a lot more uncomfortable than it actually was.
Mm-hmm.
It's really not like, and like most of the RV parks that we go to have like laundry, like laundry room things. So it's like just right here, you just walk over and do your laundry. Yeah, I wasn't sure how that was gonna go. But yeah, I mean overall it's been fun.
That's awesome. I'm happy to hear that. And I agree. I hope you find your forever home.
Thank you very much. It's really, really lovely to chat with everybody. I mean, it's really great to get to know you guys and like connect. And I just really appreciate you having me on here. That's so lovely.
I'm so happy you wanted to be on. Like, as soon as I found your channel, I'm like, I have to have her on. She needs to be on the show.
I know I'm excited because I think it was the Witch's Cookery who did your tag. At least that's the one that I saw first. And I was
Yeah.
like, is Starlight. So it was really fun to go binge a bunch of yours too. Thanks.
Uh,
Really lovely.
I have such imposter syndrome with my stuff. I'm like, I
Yeah,
need to get over that. It's hard.
it is. It's hard to put yourself out there for sure. And
Yeah.
like when you make a video, you have a way you want it to be in your head and you can't get it to come out that way. And so sometimes that gets frustrating. But it's fun.
It can be. It can be. So, like, what was the most like rewarding like part of
Mhm.
like creating videos?
I would say honestly the most rewarding part is when people tell me that like it helped them. Like I have a
Uh,
and some people on there were like, I had no idea there were so many different ways to create a sigil. And
mm-hmm.
I made mine for the first time or something. They tell me that. And oh my God, it just makes me so happy when they say that because I'm like, wow, like I feel like I was able to help them. And I've always loved that. Like any jobs I worked at and stuff too. I liked being a trainer. I like teaching people. Because I don't know, I don't always think there's the best examples of people teaching because I think sometimes people get frustrated or when they get really knowledgeable in something, they sometimes forget what it was like to be a beginner. And
Right.
it can be anywhere. I mean, whether you're practicing witchcraft or whether it's like at a job or something. But like, so to me, I've always really liked, I would find like when I first was like kind of being online, I would be in these like witchcraft Facebook groups and it would be
Mm-hmm.
so mean to beginners that were asking questions. I just couldn't believe it. And I thought there has to be a place that like some people can learn, right? And so that's what I've tried to create. So I guess the biggest like thing that makes me feel so great is when someone says they tried something for the first time or they learned something.
Aw,
It just makes me so
love
happy.
that. That's awesome. But I think I should let you go because I heard my hubby open the garage and it's about to get real loud up in here. So
Thank you so much again for having me, and I hope you have a lovely weekend. And thanks everyone.
thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Have a good weekend. Thanks for coming on.
You.
Bye. Okay.